I thank the member for Isaacs. The question is that the motion be agreed to, and I call the member for Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Our nation's identity is defined by an overriding commitment to our democratic values that rise above race, religion or ethnic background. As a society, we are united around shared values of freedom, common decency, mutual respect and the rule of law. As one of the oldest, continuous and most successful democracies, Australia has consistently rejected those who seek to impose their worldview on others through intimidation and violence, and I am happy to say that I am part of a government that stands firm on its commitment to maintaining a harmonious society as a necessary precondition to keeping Australia safe. Our primary focus is to prevent harm to our families and communities, and to do this we are working closely with our state and territorial counterparts to ensure our police and security agencies have the powers they need to fight terrorism. However, Madam Deputy Speaker, as we know, terrorism is a global challenge, and we must also work closely with our international partners in the region and beyond. Given Australia's staunch defence of our democratic values at home and abroad, it would come as no surprise that Australia faces national security challenges that continue to evolve. To combat this situation, we keep our legislation and capabilities under constant review to meet these emerging needs and threats. Australia is one of more than 60 coalition members committed to tackling ISIL on all fronts. Australia plays a major role in the coalition as a leading contributor of troops training Iraqi forces, as a participant in airstrikes in Iraq and Syria, and as a significant humanitarian donor. Beyond the direct military campaign in Iraq and Syria, we are tackling ISIL's financing and economic infrastructure, preventing the flow of foreign terrorist fighters across borders, supporting stabilisation and the restoration of essential public services to areas liberated from ISIL, and working hard to undermine and expose ISIL's deluded propaganda. As a result of this sustained effort, ISIL is under increasing pressure. They are losing territory, finances, fighters and battles. Since Iraqi security forces started their push to liberate Mosul, ISIL has lost control of more than 100 villages. In fact, it has not gained any new territory since 2015. In the past 12 months, ISIL propaganda has reduced by more than 60%, and Australian forces in Iraq are training more local soldiers than ever before. Madam Deputy Speaker, terrorism poses a grave threat to Australia and its people. It is important to manage terrorist offenders who may continue to pose an unacceptable risk to the community following the expiry of their custodial sentences. To address the threat of terrorism, the Australian Government has taken 5 tranches of legislation through Parliament since August 2014, including the Counter-Terrorism Legislation Amendment Bill No. 1 of 2016 and the Criminal Code Amendment High-Risk Terrorist Offenders Bill of 2016. Since the national terrorism threat level was raised on the 12th of September 2014, 55 people have been charged as a result of 24 counter-terrorism operations around Australia. Since the national terrorism threat level was raised on 12 September 2014, there have been 4 attacks and 11 major counter-terrorism disruption operations in response to potential attack planning in Australia. In addition, close cooperation between intelligence and law enforcement agencies has led to a series of targeted disruption and other activities to contain those threats. Madam Deputy Speaker, there are currently 40 people before the courts for terrorism-related offences, 7 of whom are juveniles. Around 200 people in Australia are being investigated for providing support to individuals and groups in the Syria-Iraq conflict, including through funding and facilitation, or are seeking to travel there. The overwhelming majority of these are young men and women. Around 190 Australian passports have been cancelled or refused in relation to the Syria-Iraq conflict, and 4 Australians have been listed for counter-terrorism targeted financial sanctions. Australia is part of an unprecedented international effort to combat and defeat ISIL and terrorism. Our commitment is steadfast and our resolve is
Order.
absolute.
The member's time has